The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Thought-provoking Thursdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and therefore our conversation with Atiba and with Johnny Melk. But just before I make our introductions into the first hour, I want to offer an editorial called The Jackson Doctrine and the Road Back from War. In 1988, at the Beverly Hilton Hotel there in Los Angeles, the Reverend Jesse Jackson stood before the country and did something American politicians rarely do. He didn't just criticize a war. He laid out a doctrine for how a great nation ought conduct itself in the world. He called it plainly the Jackson Doctrine. There were 4 pillars: support for international law, support for self-determination, support for human rights, and support for international economic justice. No slogans, a test, a way to judge any president of any party on any war. This afternoon, that test is not academic, it's the news. As of this week, the United States is not just backing a war, it's fighting one. American and Israeli strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, in an attack in February. His funeral procession is still moving through Tehran, Najaf, and Karbala as we speak. A ceasefire signed by President Trump himself at Versailles in June collapsed this week. On Tuesday, the president declared the deal with Iran over. On Wednesday, U.S. forces struck Iran again, this time threatening Karg Island, the artillery through which most of Iran's oil moves to the world. And Vice President Vance says there will be no accommodation on the Strait of Hormuz. Full stop. Ask the first Jackson question. Is this international law? A war that began with the assassination of a head of state that has now cost American taxpayers more than $100 billion, that threatens to seize a nation's oil infrastructure outright, that is not the language of law. That is the language of conquest. Reverend Jackson didn't oppose every use of force. He opposed force substituting for diplomacy, force as the first resort instead of the last. Ask the second question, self-determination. Iran's government has been brutal to its own people. We should say that plainly. Tehran massacred its own citizens during the protest earlier this year, but the Jackson Doctrine never confused a people with their regime. Regime change imposed from the outside at the barrel of a gun has never once in modern Middle East politics produced the self-determination it promised. Iraq didn't get it. Libya didn't get it. There's no reason to believe an Iran remade by American and Israeli airstrikes will get it either. Ask the third question. Human rights. Look at the Gaza. More than 2,500 members of Gaza's own police force have been reportedly killed in this war, and what's left is a security vacuum where clan mediators now do the work of courts and the work that police used to do. That's not a side effect of this conflict. In Jackson's framework, that is the conflict. The human cost is the measure, not a footnote to it. And ask the fourth question, economic justice. A 5% spike in oil prices the moment the ceasefire broke. Aviation authorities telling airlines to avoid Iranian, Iraqi, and Lebanese airspace through the end of August. Fertilizer, shipping, tourism, all of it destabilized, and the bill, as always, does not land on the American people who made the decisions. It lands on working families here and across the region who never asked for any of this. Now, the fair rebuttal deserves to be heard. The administration and its allies argue that Iran's nuclear and missile program posed a genuine threat, that Hezbollah and the Houthis were not innocent bystanders, and that a decisive strike now prevents a far bloodier war later. This is the real argument made by people who are not cynics, but history will judge whether or not they are right. But Jesse Jackson's answer to that argument 40 years ago was this: guided missiles and misguided leaders are still misguided. Power without law is not strength, it's just power. A foreign policy built on international law, self-determination, human rights, and shared prosperity isn't naive, It is the only kind of policy that has ever actually held. The Reverend used to end his speeches with a phrase that outlived his campaigns: keep hope alive. This afternoon, with a ceasefire in ruins and a funeral procession still crossing 3 countries, that's not a comfortable phrase, it's a demand. Keep it alive by insisting our government meet its own stated standard, not just its stated enemy. I'm Jesse Jackson. You're listening to Conversations with Atiba on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In a moment, our very special guest will be introduced, and we're going to have a conversation about your pocketbook. Make sure you have a pen and a piece of paper so you can follow the notes from Ataya, who's going to share with us how and what we should be doing with our money in this environment. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's sharp. She's fearless. I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how I'm going to get clicks, stop it now. She's that girl, and she's bringing all of that to your radio this summer. Amanda Seales is here. I am Amanda Seales. Comedian, artist, actress, activist, truth teller. The woman who never bites her tongue is coming to KBLA Talk 1580. And baby, the conversations are about to be unmatched. Every Friday, she's going to be lit noon to 2 p.m. and back again 4 to 6 p.m. starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Amanda Seales, keeping it real, keeping it raw, and keeping it rooted. Politics, pop culture, Black excellence, the stuff they don't want us talking about. Amanda's talking about all of it. You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works. This is not your average radio show. This is a Seales Summer. Fridays, noon to 2, 4 to 6. Starting Friday, July 17th. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Don't just listen. Tune in. I'm coming!
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin, thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to the me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA.
Welcome to the J Lunch Club. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Thought-Provoking Thursdays with Atiba, former Deputy Executive Director for the National Black Caucus of State Legislators. He's a strategic alliance consultant and president of Party Politics US. Atiba, welcome forward to the show.
Jesse, it's great to be here.
And I can't thank you enough for our very special guest in this hour. Afia Ricks has over 2 decades of experience in the financial services industry. She was consistently the #1 investment product wholesaler and raised over $2 billion in assets combined while working at 2 different Fortune 500 companies. During her time on Wall Street, she also worked with various financial companies and their financial advisors as mutual fund, ETF, unit trust, and annuity wholesaler. Afia has her own client base, while licensing and training individuals and couples to educate and serve via financial literacy programming. Afia, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Wow, thank you so much. That's me. Okay. Thank you for
So
having me.
I'm so glad you're here.
You ever
Let's
had
jump
someone
right in.
introduce you and you're like, that's me?
Welcome to the show. Atiba?
Thank you.
Hey, so Jesse, let me kind of catch everyone up. So last week here in Miami, there was an incredible program that was put on with legends of sports. Alex Rodriguez spoke, talked about business. It was a very well curated event. And at that event, I got a chance to meet Afia, and then we got a chance to talk. And the things that we talked about, I said to her, I got to have you on the show because we talk here every Thursday. And I know, Jesse, you're talking about this stuff daily about things that are impacting our communities. And one of the things that comes to mind as I'm introduce you, Afia, is a quote from The Godfather, from Tony Montana, when he said, first, in this country, you got to get the money first.
Whoa. Tony Montana was Scarface.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant, Scarface. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you so much for correcting me.
You're talking Michael Corleone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, but in Scarface, Tony Montana said, in this country, you got to make the money first. Then when you get the money, you get the power. And often when we're talking in politics, we're talking about getting power. But also, we are looking at, how are we building wealth? And we know that we've been stagnated. We've been bamboozled. We've had walls and everything that have been put around us since slavery and after. And just the conversation that I had with Afia was just really impactful. So Afia, first off, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you, Atiba. We have been having some great conversations. I will say that for sure.
So one of the things, Jesse, that we've been talking about and we want to kind of have as a theme today is the wealth gap begins with the knowledge gap. And there's so many things that we don't necessarily do. I know some of us talk about stacking dollars, but Afia, let me kind of just get into with you, bring you in terms of what are some of your thoughts in terms of what are some of the challenges that are presented to us every day and to our young people as they're moving through and matriculating through school? What are some of the things that they're not necessarily learning about wealth in schools, as well as may not be getting at home?
Right. It's interesting because now I see that a lot of schools are looking at creating programs for financial literacy. Some I love, some I don't. But I just know growing up on the south side of Chicago, there was no education on money. And even by the time I got to high school, we didn't get into this, but I went to Kenwood for a year. And then I ended up going to Lake Forest Academy. A gentleman we ran track with, he got shot and killed. There was a lot of stuff just going on in the Chicago public school system that I told my mom, I'd like to escape if you want me to go to college. So I ended up going to Lake Forest Academy, which is a boarding school and one of the highest net worth communities in the United States. And what I learned there was a lot of the kids there, there's not a large Black population there, but a lot of the children there, their parents were multimillionaires. And so I'm nosy, I ask questions, and they would talk about how at the dinner table, their families would have conversations about, the family money and the stock market. And it was just interesting to me because I was like, well, wow, first of all, you guys had a dinner table and we did too, but we just didn't use it for dinners because I don't know how many times we were together for dinner. My mom was a professor at Loop, which became Harold Washington. Her hours were interesting. And they throw out the word latchkey kids, but we all knew how to survive outside of the house for the day. So I can't tell you how many times like our family actually had dinner together, and let alone my mom's even admitted she wouldn't have even known how to start that conversation because she wasn't taught about money. Where did you learn about money is my question, actually.
What does the conversation in the Black community, given our median standard of income, what does that sound like compared to the conversation that you heard they were having in Lake Forest?
So common phrases lead you to think that all rich people are evil. And I always say, man, if you think that rich people are bad people, then you're speaking actually out into existence, because we're not bad people, right? I don't think anybody thinks they're a bad person. So you're already pushing the energy of money coming in your direction if you're saying money's evil. But then also when you get it, right? When I first started making money on Wall Street, and I was making really good money, but you kind of start saying, man, am I still a good person? So that's one thing. Money is the root of all evil, right? We've all heard that. Um, and then for most parents, when I talk to them about it, there's almost like a guilt in the Black household that they didn't have that conversation. We talk about religion, we talk about sex ed, we talk about a lot of things, but there's not a lot of conversation about money. And if there is, a lot of my generation, it was conversations with the grandparents, and their conversation was put money in the bank and just let it sit there. And I know we're going to get to this part of the conversation, but the question I would ask everybody is, what rate is your bank giving? And whatever rate that is, it 100% is not keeping up with inflation. So I'm not saying don't put your money in the bank, but it's not even close to 3-4%, which is average inflation. So your spending power with money is slowly deteriorating with that type of advice. And our grandparents used to get double-digit returns on their money. That just doesn't exist anymore at the bank.
So forgive me, I want to go back a little bit, because what you just said just kind of made me start thinking about my own childhood. And my family, we did sit around the table. In fact, whenever my father came home from work, everything stopped. Even if we were playing on the street, we had to come in and sit at the table and have dinner. But we didn't necessarily have these type of conversations. But what I do recall is I remember watching my parents sitting around the checkbook. I didn't know this until later, but they were balancing the checkbook, making sure that they had, were accounting for what each other had spent out of their joint checking account. Again, I'm assuming though they're here. What I do also remember is that the first time I really came to understand something about the stock market was that in high school and going to a business class. And then in the business class, we took a trip to a stockbroker, and the stockbroker explained to us how Wall Street worked, and then asked us, if you were going to pick a stock, which one would you pick? We didn't know. So I took my finger, slid it down, and I ended up on Lehman Brothers of all things. But I kept watching, and we put some money in, and we kept watching and what have you. So that was my first introduction into the stock market. But the other thing that comes to mind, Afia, is the first time at 14 years old, thanks to Marion Barry's Summer Youth Employment Program, I had a job where I worked 4 hours a week. For 4 hours a day. And I remember when I got my first check. And I remember asking my mother, why has so much money been taken out of my check? Because what I was multiplying was how much I was getting paid an hour. And that's how much money I expected to get. So when you take all those kind of things like into consideration, and then we start talking to someone about, hey, you can put X amount of money aside for savings. You can put X amount of money in terms of investment. But when someone's getting their check and then they're recognizing like, wait, I'm not making nearly as much money as I thought because so much is being taken away. When you look at that, how do you teach someone as they're coming up how to, as in our conversations, you live within your means or below your means so that you can be able to create a better future for yourself?
First of all, thank you to whatever teacher that was that took you to the stockbroker and had you even look at anything. The second thing I'll say is that your parents had the checkbook out, but I want to ask you both, did your parents ever tell you how much money they made?
No, they didn't. And it was like I remember asking my father how much he made, and to me it came across that it's none of your business.
It was grounds in some households for a spanking, dare I say, or we can't talk about spankings anymore. Okay, got it. But that was the conversation I had with my mother when I first got on Wall Street, because my first job in New York, I got paid $25,000. It was in advertising. So then I go from there to, luckily an alumni of my college, I was about to get evicted. So I got into financial services because of necessity. So I worked for her part-time to make some extra money. And then at some point, what I realized was I'm making $25,000 here. I'm making an extra couple of $100 here a week. How much did my mother make? Because she, put us through school. I got a little bit of a scholarship at Lake Forest Academy. At Smith College, I got some money. I knew how much it was, but I knew I had to contribute $1,000 a year. But then it started dawning on me as we're doing financial plans. One of the questions is, well, how much do you make? And then how much do you spend? And so I called my mom and I remember asking her, well, how much did you make? And she hesitated and she did not feel comfortable telling me. And I told her the reason why I needed to know. I need to know how you were able to buy that condo in Hyde Park for me, you, and my sister to live in. I need to know how you were able to get those groceries and go to the health food store and buy us healthy food because that's what you wanted us to eat. How did that lifestyle even exist? And at the time, she was making $50,000 is what she told us. That's what she made when she did that at that period of time. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm making half of that, so this really isn't going to work. But I also didn't even account for inflation because that wasn't a lesson that I had gotten, that every 25 years, and I want everybody to hear this, every 20 to 25 years, you need to double what you make just to have your lifestyle keep up with the lifestyle you had 25 years prior.
I have a quick question for you. When I graduated from college, North Carolina A&T State University, School of Business, where the dean was Quaister Craig, I graduated with a degree in business administration, $1 to my name. And I went to the seminary and then to law school. I ended up with this book because I had been watching an infomercial called Wealth Without Risk by a guy named Charles J. Givens. I think he's deceased now, and he may have even done some time. He encouraged the people who read his book to take $25 every month, put it in a mutual fund, and using a method of basically dollar cost averaging. When the stock market was high, your $25 would buy fewer shares of the mutual fund. But when the market was low, your $25 would buy more of the shares in the mutual fund. And as a result, over a period of time, looking at the market's highs and lows, Afia, my little $25 every month would continue to buy shares of stock in a mutual fund, given a little bit of financial direction and a little bit of help. Does that still make sense in today's environment? Because I'm not so sure I can explain why I'm still broke.
First of all, my big smile came from someone told you to start early, which is so important because, as we know in history, at least the history of our economy keeps growing. That means the stock market is moving in this direction. So what you were able to buy for the price of the exact same mutual fund, I don't know what you bought at the time, of what you would do now is very different. Now, there is a specific number of what you should have in retirement. And based on whatever returns you're getting, there's a specific amount of money that you should be putting away each month. So I would be excited if everyone who's listening to this would start with $25 a month into a mutual fund. That's actually what I literally encourage. Now, when I'm talking to adults, I can go as low as $25 a month into some major mutual fund companies. But for adults, usually I say, let's start with 100. But what I will do is I'll give you some numbers. So if you wanted $1 million by the time you were 65, Mr. Jackson, if you started at 20, you would need to do $135 a month. And this is if you got a 9% rate of return. And I like giving statistics. The stock market has averaged 10% since the 1920s. So saying 9% is not a crazy number. And I hope everyone heard you when you said the ups and the downs.
Hold on one second, Afia. I've got to take a break here, but we're going to pick right back up on this conversation when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the nation's best financial planner, Afia Ricks. I'm so glad she's our guest on our conversation with Atiba. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett says she will not campaign with the Democratic Senate nominee James Tallarico after losing the primary.
It was racist. It was a racist race. It is what it is.
Speaking at the Global Black Economic Forum, Crockett suggested race played a role in her loss, and she plans to campaign with down-ballot Black Democrats to help boost turnout. Former University of Michigan employee Paige Shiver is suing the school after an inappropriate relationship with former football coach Sharon Moore, who is Black, led to his firing. Shiver wants records released from the university's investigation and claims employees violated her privacy by illegally accessing her medical records. An Atlanta Grammy-winning producer, Jermaine Dupri, is suing Sony Music for millions of dollars. In a federal lawsuit filed this week, Dupri claims Sony underpaid him for songs he helped produce or perform on, including music dating back to the 1990s. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Cleaning starts with one small task, and suddenly it's the whole house. Luckily, there's AirTasker. Post your task, set your budget, and choose a tasker to help. From carpet cleaning to finally tackling the junk drawer. Go to airtasker.com or download the app.
AirTasker. Get anything done.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers got by Colorado Wednesday night 4-3. A very impressive at-bat for Dodgers shortstop Mookie Betts in the 8th inning. Mookie had 2 strikes on him after facing 8 pitches. On the 9th pitch, Mookie delivered a game-winning RBI single. The Dodgers are off today. They're at home Friday night against Arizona. The Major League Baseball draft is Saturday. UCLA shortstop Rock Cholowski is projected to be the number 1 overall pick. Cholowski was voted Big Ten Conference Player of the Year this season. He batted .320 with 21 homers and 60 RBIs. First pick in the draft belongs to the Chicago White Sox. In my Thursday afternoon sports update, I'll have a recap for you on Coco Gauff at Wimbledon. The 22-year-old African-American is playing this morning in the semifinals against Carolina Muchova. Coco is aiming for her first Wimbledon championship. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Unapologetically progressive. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. We don't tell you what to think, just what to think about.
Hey, I am D.L. Hughley, host of the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show, heard weekdays from 2 to 4 exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. I promise to make you think a little, but laugh a whole lot more. So tune in to the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show 2 to 4 only on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Number 14. That's where Talkers Magazine ranked Tavis Smiley on their heavy 100 list of the 100 most important talk radio hosts in America. Join Tavis weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Let's get something straight, shall we? Holding a Black elected official accountable is not the same as having a personal beef with them. That distinction matters, and too often it gets blurred, sometimes on purpose, I think. The minute someone raises a real concern about outcomes, about votes, about spending priorities, about broken promises, it gets reframed as an attack, as disrespect, as tearing down our own. We need to stop that, y'all. That framing does a disservice to the very communities these leaders represent. Accountability is not betrayal. Accountability is what elected office requires from everybody, regardless of the seat or who's sitting in it. Let me ask you a quick question. Do you think I have a personal beef with Donald Trump? It ain't personal. It's his anti-Black policies. You feel me? So why is it always framed as personal animus when the critique is in Black? See, you can miss me with that mess. Black communities have fought too hard and for too long to get representation at the table. That fight doesn't end once someone wins an election and becomes president of the country, or for that matter, the city council. If anything, it raises the stakes. Representation without results is not the goal. Representation that delivers, now that's the goal. So, in the future, when we talk about a policy failure, let's talk about the policy. Let's keep our eyes on the actual record, the votes, the budgets, the promises, the perennially missed deadlines, the outcomes in people's daily lives. Because the moment we start treating accountability as disloyalty, we lose the ability to ask for better from anyone. We must never surrender our agency to be outraged when our leaders underperform. Our communities deserve leaders who welcome scrutiny, not ones who hide behind identity to avoid it. Now, let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, the J Lunch Club, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in our conversation with Atiba. Our very special guest is Afia Ricks. Afia is one of the nation's leading financial planners and advisors, and I'm grateful that she's joining us here on our show. Atiba, welcome forward, and Afia, welcome forward as well.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
I do want to finish this point that we were making just before the break, and that is this. I mean, I was squeezing to get $25 to invest in a mutual fund out of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I was growing up, there was Blockbuster. So I wouldn't go to the theater. I'd wait for it to come out on Blockbuster with my VCR, right? Rather than get a new car, I got a used car. And I'm thinking in this environment, some good advice for the average person listening to this radio show who's on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 10, the 118, and the 110. If you're in LA and you're trying to get a new car in this environment, you might be making a big mistake, because I think what I hear Afia saying is that we've got some choices to make from our present income to squeeze out now the $135 a month that we need to find out of our existing income in order to earn a percentage higher than what banks pay that our grandmothers used to put in a banking account because of inflation. We have to find a return that's somewhere around 9 or 10%. Afia?
I agree. And you can find
I got all that from you. I just need to make sure that's what you said.
Yeah, I mean that. I'm just giving you the numbers. I wish I could adjust the numbers down to where $25 would work. But the reason why I would love if somebody would start with $25 to the point that you brought. That $25 is not going to DoorDash. That $25 is not going to a pack of cigarettes. That $25 is not going to something that is not going to be as useful as having $1 million when you're 65 years old. Now, the difference is if you do it at 50, then you need to get to $1 million. You need to save $2,643. So waiting is really a big issue for a lot of people because they're waiting for the perfect time or they're waiting for the perfect instance. And it's like, no. A lot of us are missing out on these returns that are happening right now. The returns right now are actually so unrealistic. The market's doing so well, but are people even participating? They're $25, $135, or even $2,000, $3,000, whatever someone can afford to do. I would love if they would take a percentage of their money and try out the stock market and put some money to the side.
Atiba?
Yeah, Jesse, I was thinking about your editorial when you started in terms of what, just what's going on in the world right now. Afia, what do you see that happens right now with the stock market? With, I'm assuming that things that happen in DC affect the market. What are some of the things that you see And what is some of the advice that you might give to someone listening?
There's always going to be various components of the world, let alone the United States, that will positively and negatively affect the market. And I want to give another statistic. The market's up 75% of the time. It's down 25% of the time. Atiba, when do you think is the best time to buy? When the stock market is up or when the stock market is down?
I would assume when it's down.
But you may not know this from my perspective, but I'll just tell you, most people, when everyone's talking about, oh my God, things are great, and the stock market's up, that's when they want to start participating. But if something's, I'll just say, said on TV, or some negative news comes out, even if that news flips in 24 to 48 hours and the market shoots up from being down, if you weren't even in to play the game, you're not participating in any of it. The other thing I get is people say, well, investing's like gambling. And I'm like, if you're looking at it short term, it can feel like gambling. But just like if you're flipping a house, like the shorter the term of that investment, the more uncertainty of what it can do. But the stock market goes up and down. And if you're doing what Mr. Jackson mentioned, which is dollar cost averaging, it takes your emotions out of it. You're participating as the market grows. But most importantly, when it's down and emotionally you're not certain, it's forcing you to do what you should be doing, which is when the market is down, you should be buying and you should be participating. So yes, things in Washington can affect what's going on in the stock market, but also, weather can affect, unfortunately, you know what I mean, what's going on in the stock market. There's so many outliers that do affect what's going on in the stock market, but you have to be in it to win it. And I also recommend, and I'm obviously biased in this, but I also recommend that you initially at least have a financial advisor that is walking you through the process. So that way you're not blindsided or you're making emotional decisions versus doing historical or intelligent decisions based off the statistics.
Sophia, I'm assuming that the median income for African Americans, and this is not statistically based, it's just my feeling, we're somewhere between $60,000 and $90,000 for a family.
Yes, Atiba, you actually had the exact numbers, which I love you sent earlier. But yes, it's between 60 and 90. That's great.
So what changes in our lifestyles have to be made to squeeze out a monthly investment over time that allows us to play when the market's low and when the market's high? But I think I heard you say, but we've got to be consistent over time.
Yes. The first step is doing a budget. And I know a lot of my clients, they'll do their own budgets. And I'm like, okay, well, let me do a budget. Let me do your budget. And what we do is we have categories, but then I highly recommend you go into your bank app and I need you to scroll and see what is coming out each month, because there's some things that people are paying for that they don't even want, that are like subscription based or whatever it is. And those could be monies that could turn into tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run. So step one is really reviewing your budget, because I always find money when I'm doing a budget with someone.
Atiba?
You said you always find money. The next question I would ask is, where do you find it?
I find more months. I find more months when I do a budget.
Because Gina said put aside the lottery money.
It could be lottery tickets. For me, it was a sneaker habit. For some of my friends, it was their vices, be it drinking, be it smoking. And some people on here are saying, no, that's not me. There's something in there. Trust me, there's usually something in there. And then the response is, oh no, I can't give that up. I need that in order to be okay just out here in the world. And honestly, sneakers was the problem for me, but for everyone else, it's different things. I mean, it's these clothing companies that are making clothes really cheap. So people think, oh, I'm getting something for just this. And emotional purchases is a huge issue. There's a lot of things that people could look at in their budget, and I'll help them find it.
I drive to Indiana to get my gas. And I live not far from where Afia grew up. I drive all the way to Calumet Avenue and to Burr Street in Gary, Indiana, where I found gas for $2.99 a gallon. I'm just not doing $5.65 here in the city of Chicago. That's just a fact. And so I'm making it squeeze that way. I'm buying my toilet paper at Aldi's and at the Family Dollar. And I'm meeting a whole bunch of people, by the way, who walk up to me and say, "Hey, you're Jesse Jackson Jr." And I'm like, "Yeah, we shop right here at the Family Dollar."
Absolutely.
And I get my Dawn there. I get my deodorant there. I get my pods from my laundry there. I'm not hanging around Jules. It ain't happening. And there's a whole bunch of adjustments I'm making right now to squeeze. Now you're telling me $135 out of whatever it is I get a month, put it in the market. Is there a particular mutual fund or series of mutual funds like the tech economy, like AI, that we should be looking at? I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Afia. When we come forward, you're going to have plenty of time for that answer. More on KBLA Talk 1580 in conversation with Atiba in just a moment.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Chris Holden, former California Assembly member, former Mayor of Pasadena, and CEO of LA Fire Justice. I've spent my career fighting for our communities. When I saw Edison celebrating $4.5 billion in profits while Eaton fire survivors struggle to make ends meet, it made me simultaneously sick and furious. Families and individuals are dealing with financial pressure, insurance delays, costly remediation, and the painful question of how to rebuild their lives, while the utility that caused the fire is paying its executives millions and is more profitable than ever. That's not justice. That's a disgrace. Join the lawsuit with LA Fire Justice to hold Edison accountable. We're here to help you, your family, and our community recover. Visit lafirejustice.com today to learn more about your eligibility and how to start.
Advertisement. Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees or minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bank guide for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Folly drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Thought-Provoking Thursdays, and we're in conversation with Atiba. Atiba needs no introduction. Afia Ricks has over 2 decades of experience in the financial services industry. She currently holds her Series 7, uses as Series 6, Series 26, and Series 63 FINRA licenses. She also is a life insurance licensed in various states. Afia, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you for having me.
I can only imagine that it's hard to hear your biography read back to you sometimes, but it's so very impressive. I got to share this with you, and I'm sure Tiba can appreciate this. Y'all, everybody on this call and then in the range of my voice knows I've done some time. And so, I came out of the joint, and my children were still living very middle-class lives. For them, essentially nothing had changed. And I heard a song a couple of months ago that reminded me of the joint that I haven't forgotten because it has basically scaled me back to what I can afford and how I can live. I ate noodles, no packet, cereal with the canned Merc, powder Merc, no Merc, waffles, no syrup, jelly, no jelly, nothing. Oatmeal, no sugar. It seems to me that I'm in a better position right now, Afia, to actually squeeze something out of my meager little income to invest, no matter how difficult the circumstances were. Each of us can look at that little bit of sacrifice that can put us on the road to overcoming some of these affordability issues and also saving for our family's future in spite of. Afia, talk to me now.
So what I'll tell you is we talked about starting early, but I also know that some people are already investing, which is great. But like you said, you need to squeeze a little bit more if you can. Now, the other thing is I've had clients that have been putting money away, and then when COVID hit, or even like this most recent year hit, they felt guilty about pulling the money. But I was like, well, that $50, $100, what would you have actually spent that on? And they're like, I'm so glad I did this. And then my response is, who else in your family should be doing this? Who else in your circle should be doing this? Because the sad part about it is most of us who do it, even though we don't have a bunch of money, by the way, you don't have to have a bunch of money to be wealthy. You just have to be really great and really disciplined with what you talked about, which is dollar cost averaging. So the thing about it is we don't want to be the only wealthy ones. If we start to do this, that means we're going to get older and that we're going to want to go on trips. And maybe at the time we'll only be able to afford road trips. Some of us will be able to afford to do the yachts and all the fun things. But do you understand, if you're the only one doing it, You got to tell your friends and your family that you want to come along on these trips to do it as well, or else you're paying. So I always tell people this: if you have life insurance and your family doesn't have a life insurance, that's a problem. If you have an investment account and your family doesn't have an investment account, that's a problem. When you're doing well later, they're going to ask you, why didn't you share this with us? Because as we just talked about, if I didn't learn it at home, that means my sister didn't learn it at home. You know what I mean? If our generation didn't learn it in school, that means the majority of our generation didn't learn it at school. So stop gatekeeping whoever you're getting financial advice from, but also don't get financial advice from anyone that's not licensed. At least when it comes to stock market investing, they need to be FINRA licensed. There's a website that's called FINRA Broker Check. The minute someone says, it's FINRA Broker Check, the minute someone's giving you investment advice, guess what? You need to get their government name and look them up. Trust me when I say I've looked up a couple people where they're like, my money, I don't know what happened. They invested it. And I'm looking and this person has disclosures, which means they did some things where they maybe got some customer complaints or some things like that. So that's the number one thing. But also number two, some of us already are investing money. Like, what returns are you getting? And one of the questions you asked, which by the way, I can't fully answer it. You said, what mutual fund? So I'm always curious, what do people already have or what are they already investing in? Because what are the returns? By the way, you said 135 to get to $1 million. That's if you were 20 years old. And I'm not going to say that you're not 20 years old, but I think you're at the other number. If you were 20.
That hurts.
If you were 20.
We're still burying cash in Folgers cans out back.
Put it in the wall, put it in the freezer.
The mattress.
Is cash still good? Is cash still good, Afia? Is cash still good?
Cash is great. What do you mean? Cash is great.
It's been so long since I've had some of it in my pocket. I'm functioning with credit cards, with Apple Pay. I hardly ever come into contact with a bill any longer in terms of a dollar bill, transferable currency.
Cash is great. Cash
Still
is great because if you're investing, cash is great because this is the thing, and this is the problem which most of us have, is most of us don't have a lot of cash, and if we have investments, it's locked up. And you want wealthy people, when the market goes down and the opportune time to buy is when it's down, and the news reporters say, oh my goodness, the world's going to end, like those are the best times to buy. But who has extra money to throw in extra when things aren't good? Because this is the thing about it. Usually when the economy's not good and the stock market's down, that also means some people lost their jobs. That also means people don't have enough money to spend. But that's why we're going to go back to, I bet you I could find something in both of your budgets. I bet you I could find something in your budget. You just don't want me to find it. You just don't want me to find it. And I know that's why some people don't meet with me, because they're like, he's going to have me stop doing this habit that I don't want to really give up doing. You know, me and the fellas got to have cigars on Friday. Like, I'm not giving that up. But I'll show you that cigars with the fellas, if you invested that over that period of time, could turn into $50,000, which could be maybe a down payment for your child to buy something. It could be money for a new car and maybe a used car for your child, because we don't buy them new cars. At least my mom didn't. She didn't play that game. So we really just got to figure. And this is the thing. I know someone's listening to this and they're saying, I'm telling you, Afia, I don't have any money. And you know, I'm going to call your bluff, because if I don't have time to cook meals. So going to get sushi is okay. It's because it's fast. I need something fast. I need something quick. There's always ways to make adjustments. And I grew up in a healthy eating family, so I don't want you giving up eating the healthy food. I like the oatmeal without the sugar. Everything else made me a little nervous. But if you don't take care of your health now, that will also cost you later. Everything that you do good compounds good over time. Everything that we do bad compounds bad over time.
I gotta go. Afia, thank you so much for joining the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Amazing guest, Atiba. So grateful. More on KBLA with Johnny Mack when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. and the J Lunch Club right here at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett says she will not campaign with the Democratic Senate nominee James Tallarico after losing the primary.
It was racist. It was a racist race. It is what it is.
Speaking at the Global Black Economic Forum, Crockett suggested race played a role in her loss, and she plans to campaign with down-ballot Black Democrats to help boost turnout. Former University of Michigan employee Paige Shiver is suing the school after an inappropriate relationship with former football coach Sharon Moore, who was Black, led to his firing. Shiver wants records released from the university's investigation and claims employees violated her privacy by illegally accessing her medical records. An Atlanta Grammy-winning producer, Jermaine Dupri, is suing Sony Music for millions of dollars. In a federal lawsuit filed this week, Dupri claims Sony underpaid him for songs he helped produce or perform on, including music dating back to the 1990s. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Cleaning starts with one small task, and suddenly it's the whole house. Luckily, there's AirTasker. Post your task, set your budget, and choose a tasker to help. From carpet cleaning to finally tackling the junk drawer. Go to airtasker.com or download the app.
AirTasker. Get anything done.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers got by Colorado Wednesday night 4-3. A very impressive at-bat for Dodgers shortstop Mookie Betts in the 8th inning. Mookie had 2 strikes on him after facing 8 pitches. On the 9th pitch, Mookie delivered a game-winning RBI single. The Dodgers are off today. They're at home Friday night against Arizona. The Major League Baseball draft is Saturday. UCLA shortstop Rock Cholowski is projected to be the #1 overall pick. Cholowski was voted Big Ten Conference Player of the Year this season. He batted .320 with 21 homers and 60 RBIs. First pick in the draft belongs to the Chicago White Sox. In my Thursday afternoon sports update, I'll have a recap for you on Coco Gauff at Wimbledon. The 22-year-old African-American is playing this morning in the semifinals against Carolina Muchova. Coco is aiming for her first Wimbledon championship. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.